Hi guys, here today to do our daily tarot draw, our daily Trump reading. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. I've been really busy all day. I'm sorry, I'm just getting to this now, but I work and I just opened my pool for the season, so hence why I'm in a tank top. It is really warm here today. I don't know wherever you all are, but it is really warm here today. Happy summer. So today I'm going to be using my Tot deck, which is, I suppose it's my specialty. So I've already pulled out the Major Arcana, and I'm going to give those a shuffle, and we'll see what we get. Now, I have been showing you the fast-forwarded shuffle in these videos because I want you guys to see that I do actually shuffle, and how long I shuffle for. I actually shuffle sort of a disgusting amount of time. It's kind of ridiculous. So, but it is part of my method in a weird way. So I guess I kind of wanted to share that with you guys. So anywho, let's get to it here. Okay, so we're all shuffled, and let's see what we've got. Interesting. Okay, so our card for the day, our trump card for the day rather, is Lust, number 11 in the Tot deck, otherwise known as Strength, number 8 in the Rider-Waite tradition, but in the Thelemic tradition, Strength or Lust, or the card associated with Leo, is called Lust and is number 11. So that's our major for today. And now let's shuffle everything else, and we're going to ask for 3 cards that will help us understand lust better. Okay. Okay, the first thing I think is so interesting about the cards that we got for today, we got the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Discs, and the Six of Wands. And the 8 of Wands is on the bottom. Now, for me, I feel that the first thing that is obvious is the sexual component. Lust, of course, is a card that in this deck really does have a sexual component to it, much like the Six of Cups does, which is actually below the 8 of Wands here on the bottom of our deck, which is kind of interesting to consider. But the Queen of Discs is also a very sexual card in this deck. Let's just put it this way. She is associated with the Markhor ram, which is a particular kind of ram from, I believe, the Himalayas, if I remember correctly, and that name translates to snake eater, so you do the math. But that is what she partially represents, and she does represent this cultivation of vegetation and this very physical idea of sustaining life. She is very much the minor arcana version of the Empress. For me, anyway, that's how I like to see the Queen of Discs to some extent. Definitely more practical and more down to earth, and being better with money, and being a little more specific than the Empress. But the Queen of Discs definitely has a similar vibe to her, being sort of this Earth Mothery type of figure. And I think that that's pretty appropriate for Lust, considering Lust really is about the quasi-erotic aspect of passion and what really constitutes passion. Lust is all about creative energy exercised in joy. There is nothing subtle about the card of lust. It is it's very forward, and it's very strong energy. Of course, obviously, the alternative title is strength, but it's very consistent energy, being Leo, because Leo is the fixed sign of fire, and so we get this consistency with lust. It's also on an interesting path on the Tree of Life, connecting Chesed and Geburah, mercy and severity. So we get that connotation as well of both the joy and mercy of Chesed with the severity and power of Geburah. And so Crowley says that this is not necessarily Geburah acting upon Chesed, which would be more the traditional definition of strength, the woman restraining the lion's jaw, Geburah severity restricting the power of Chesed. This is more Chesed influencing Geburah, and the two of them having a reciprocal relationship. And the idea is that it is the joy of Chesed being applied to power. And so it is the joy of power exercised. Unlike adjustment or justice, which is power arrested in the process of thought. So this is much more direct. And there is this very overt sexual connotation to this card because lust is also the great card of magic in this deck. Magic with a K at the end. It really is representative of everything that Crowley really believed to be true about the relationship between sexuality and magic. And that is very important for understanding this card. This card is all about magical energy and all about how to really harness that energy. So the Queen of Discs is kind of self-explanatory for me in that sense. The Queen of Cups is a little vague here. Queen of Cups is interesting because on one hand, the Queen of Cups is very intuitive and is in the way that the Queen of Discs is sort of the Empress of the minors, the Queen of Cups is almost the priestess of the minors. And so she is the type of personality who's very intuitive, very engaged with her sense of psychological development. She's also very mysterious and very vague. She is supposed to be a vague card, and this comes from the fact that she is partially Gemini. She does partake in the last 10 degrees of Gemini and the first 20 of Cancer. And so it is this Gemini aspect of reflection applied to the idea of water. And that's really how we get that. And so the Queen of Cups does have this sort of mystery about her. She is sort of impenetrable. She reflects back whatever it is you want her to reflect back. But how we combine this with lust, or how we say that this might have to do with lust, I think it's interesting that both queens, and queens are known for, traditionally, for sustaining energy and sort of drawing out energy. But I think that both of those ideas of both mystery and intuition with the idea of sexuality are both very much a big part of this card. And I think that they take place on a very personal level. People have to really, in order to embody lust, you do have to sort of embody these principles. And the interesting thing, too, is that the Queen of Discs, being Capricornish, is semi-masculine in a way. She has this quasi-masculine connotation to her with the horns. And the whole idea of Capricorn, of course, Capricorn is the devil, one of the most phallic cards in the entire taught deck. So we get this idea of, very feminine mystery here, and then also very earthy sexuality here. And the third card that we get is the Six of Wands, which is victory. And I think that this, is sort of also implied in lust, not only because victory is Jupiter in Leo, and both lust and the Six of Wands are both governed by the force of Leo, so they both resonate with each other very well. But the idea of lust is that whole idea of joy. And I think the Six of Wands captures that sense of victory and joy and triumph. And really, there is no idea of weakness in this card. This card is all about strength and vigor and energy and triumph. Now on the bottom of our deck, we have the Eight of Wands, which for me is sort of like a quick burst of energy that doesn't necessarily last long, which is very interesting considering all that we've been saying about queens and the idea of Leo. So this may or may not be, especially in conjunction with the Six of Cups here, may or may not be an allusion to orgasm. It may or may not be related to that concept, which is also a huge part of the concepts of sex magic. You can possibly read into some of these cards a little bit, as I think about them more. You could see, that sense of feminine mystery here being joined with feminine sexuality. If you really wanted to get into Thelemaism, you could suggest that those are representations of the goddess Babylon and what Babylon really represents for Thelema, which is really about, the real mystery of female sexuality and the real power of female sexuality and feminine mystique. The feminine mystique really is a real thing for Thelema and is something really potent. And you could see that as partially being what the queens may be representing. You could then also say that one of the other really cool things about getting the Six of Wands in this reading is that the Six of Wands does occupy the Sephirah of Tiferet. And Tiferet has also a lot to do with the idea of lust, because lust has such a solar, creative energy about it and is very much about harmony. And harmony between male and female, active and passive energies. And Tiferet really espouses that entire concept in and of itself, the idea of harmony of male and female. Tiferet really is, in many ways, even though represented more often than not as male, is really in some ways androgynous, in the same way that Keter, its father in heaven, is as well. So that's also something kind of interesting to consider here, that Tiferet in the suit of fire, which is Tiferet in its best aspect in the tarot, if you consider the degradation of elements, that's a really potent thing to have in conjunction with lust here. And the two have a lot in common with each other as far as nature is concerned, and characterization. So other than that, I think that we can say that lust perhaps is trying to say something more mysterious here than may seem. At the same time, you could also interpret the fact that we don't have any other majors here that would indicate that more powerfully for us. You might say that maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it is something that occurred to me kind of after a while of looking at this. And that's really about it. That's really all I've got here. This is kind of a strange reading. I'm curious if you guys have any input that you might want to add to this. So if you want, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any insight that you want to add to this, I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think. And don't forget to subscribe, check out my new website, and follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Stay tuned also tomorrow. I'm going to be starting my Suit of Swords videos and tutorials on the Minor Arcana Suit of Swords tomorrow. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much. Have a great end of your weekend, guys. Take care.